Billy Rack at Greenmount and Johnny Charlton at Kira, who ran Beach High businesses, and the young kids who were just starting to surf then used to beg a loan of the hire boards, because I guess not every kid could afford a surfboard in those days. So you had future champion surfers like Michael Peterson, Rabbit Bartholomew, Peter Townend, earning an hour on one of the hire boards from either Billy Rack or Johnny Charlton by helping them pack up their gear at the end of the day.
My dad ran the Greenmount Beach Hire, and he used to spray the suntan oil on the girls, and we used to teach people surfing. So that's where I grew up. I started surfing when I was 4, and I can remember my dad taking me out on the front of his board, and he'd also taught me to climb up his body and be able to stand on his shoulders, and we could surf along, stand on his shoulders.
Growing up around the local people, like they all became legends in surfing, but we're all just normal people. We're all just surfing for the love of surfing. We all went to school together. You hung around down around town, and it was nothing. It was nothing really defined it, but it was just so casual and easy going, and it was just great.
It wasn't so much just the beach, it's the headlands and the little nooks and crannies, and like so much stuff to explore, especially when you're young. It seems so much bigger when you're young. As you grow up, it gets a little bit smaller, and town gets a bit smaller. But yeah, it was great. Like most of us only either lived on top of a hill or just behind one of the hills, and it was a short bike ride or a run or a skateboard into town to go surfing.
I grew up at Palm Beach initially, but I was always drawn down to the southern end of the coast, mostly obviously because of the points, but also Duranbah. Being a goofy footer, I'd favour Duranbah, but it was obviously a case of whenever Debo got too big, then you'd hit the points. And I guess over the years really honed my backhand surfing, surfing from Burleigh to Kira to Snapper and the like.
Riding our bike down from where we lived in Charles Street, and in those days there was no security. We levelled out some of the ground and built walls of potato sacks, and that was our little base underneath the house there, and we all left our surfboards there. No, they never got knocked off, and it was just fun times.
I grew up in Victoria, a long way from here, and to me, the Coolangatta Point breaks were just like this surfing Disneyland I could only imagine, with warm water, sand bottom points, perfect barrels, spinning endlessly.
What I enjoyed was that sort of 25-year period where, when the swell was up or when it was the right direction, right size, you knew where you were going straight away. So I guess that's a pretty amazing period of time that I'll never forget.
Algie Miller, who was I think he was the first board champion of Greenmount Surf Club, and he was a carpenter down here at Kira, and he made us these little, we called them belly boards, and they were made out of marine ply, and they had 2 little fins in the back of them, and we thought we were the bee's knees when he made us these belly boards, and they were just unreal, and we'd all be out there going, oh yeah, how good's this?
Main things that Dad was probably remembered for is he would always help people out. Like, he would give them a place to stay for a while, or let them help work the beach hire and be able to give them some cash or lend them money, or even lend them, surfboards, even repair surfboards for them. So he was always he was always helping people.
It's not hard to see why it's produced so many champions, and it's going to continue to produce more champions than any other place in the world, there's no doubt about it.
It's basically the best natural fun park in the world that's for free.
And they used to have a free show at Greenmount, and they used to have Ron Rico, the hypnotist, and he used to do shows there, and he just had the same show every Sunday, and it was just bloody classic. He'd hypnotise people, and they'd full on go and do stuff, and it was just hilarious. You'll go back into the crowd, and the person you'll sit with, you're madly in love with them, and you'll kiss them, and blokes would go back and sit on other blokes' knees and be kissing them, and the other bloke would be trying to fight him, push him off. It was hilarious.
You've got a guy like Sharky Jack Evans, who had the porpoise pool at Snapper. back in the sort of 50s. And, you know, there's a little bit of mystery and intrigue for me as how exactly the porpoises ended up in Sharky's pool, because it was originally just an ocean pool where people swam, and there are various stories, none of which I've been able to completely verify, how these two porpoise ended up in his pool one day. But, you know, Sharky Jack soon realised that more people were coming to see the dolphins than to go for a swim themselves. So, you know, that soon became its own tourist attraction.
Fancy dress segment in the contest, and he won. The first year he won it dressed as Crocodile Dundee, because he looked exactly like Paul Hogan. He had the physique and stuff. And then the next year he didn't know what he was going to do to try and top that, so he wore this Indian headdress, and it was such a good headdress. Well, I think he won it again. Yeah, he ruined it in the process of wearing it out in the surf, but he won, so he was happy.
Greenmount Point was just the place that had this perfect wave. Just we'd sit up here in this classroom up here with Mr. Edwards, and we'd all be looking out the window, oh, it's pumping, you know. But yeah, I don't know, that was just great. Those years when, it just seemed to be surf all the time.
Travel overseas, there's always people asking us about home, and I guess we don't take it for granted, but we just don't think of it as what other people might think of it, like being such a paradise. Like, we have so many world-class waves, and it's so consistent. Like, snapper's probably the most consistent point break in the world. And then, yeah, when Kira's on, we've got probably one of the best right-handers in the world. And then there's waves all up and down the coast too, within an hour's reach, and just makes it such a haven for us, because we can surf every kind of condition imaginable. It's just the perfect training ground, and just a beautiful place with a lot of beautiful people.
The southern end of the Gold Coast has got really rich underground local corners to it, and a lot of cool families, you know, that have grown up here and intermingled over the years. I think that's a strong part of it, so it has got a lot of localism to it. Not bad localism, but good localism.
Super clear water, colour, and its aspect, the orientation that it faces into the swells, the fact that the swells aren't blocked by big headlands or reefs.
Oh, we were just spoilt. The waves were just there nearly every day, and if it wasn't there, then it was here, or it was at Kira, or it was at Coolangatta Beach, or Spot X, or Little Groin, or, you know, there was so many options and just so few people, and it was just a buzz.
He would also try and go out in this massive stuff, like big cyclonic surf, which I used to start to get scared at because he was getting older. And at one stage, he actually got caught out on the buoy, the shark buoy. He'd lost his surfboard and he was out there. And this is probably when he would have been about probably 55, you know, so he wasn't as fit as he was very fit, but he wasn't as fit as he probably thought he was. And the surf was so big at the stage where the wave would come and the buoy would actually go underwater till all the wave went past, and then it would pop back up. So he was hanging on to this thing, and he said that it would start to go underwater because the big wave, and it'd hang on, and then sometimes he was wondering if it's going to come back up. And eventually it'd come back up. He was starting to get worried that he couldn't hang on for much longer. And this one guy ended up being able to get out and bring him back in.
Everyone comes here from out of town and go, hey, how crowded is it out there? I still don't think it's that crowded. I still dig getting out there and know most of the guys, and we all have a bit of fun, and when you get a good day, you come in going, now that was a good surf.
The clubbies took out the surf boat, you know, the ex-footballers or whatever they were that used to row the surf boats in the clubby era, you know, or still a clubby era. But anyway, it's really big, and like, as you know, around here, you get the smaller wave on the inside. It's basically just 3 to 4 foot, and then you've got a bit of an outer gutter bank, and then you get the bigger waves that break wide. And these guys are paddling out, and there was a didn't understand swells back then. It was just, it's big, you know. So it must have been a long period between sets. So they're paddling out in a lull, and we're up on the hill and we're going, oh no, look at this, there's a big set coming. anyway, they get over a couple of swells, and then you see that, you know, the biggest wave of the set coming, and they're paddling like crazy, and they're going up the face of this wave, and as it broke right in the middle of the boat. So you can imagine what happened. There's guys, bodies, boards, boat broke in half. There's oars and people just floating everywhere, and the boat just got destroyed, you know. So I can never forget that. It was pretty amazing. We were all just cracking up on the hill.